Hello everyone. In this video, we will be sharing the experience of Nidhal Hafiz, who has been placed as an engineer in Rakuten Mobile. In this role, he would be working as a site reliability engineer. Before we listen to Nidhal, I would like to introduce him formally to our viewers. Nidhal is a final year MTech student in the Department of Energy Sciences and Engineering at IIT Bombay. For his MTech project, he is working on techno-economical analysis of grid-integrated PV battery systems. Due to his inclination towards machine learning, he has earned various certifications, including Deep Learning by OneForce Labs, SQL for Data Science by Coursera, etc. During his MTech, Nidhal has also worked as an associate placement coordinator for the Institute Placement Team 2019-20 at IIT Bombay. Before joining IIT Bombay, he worked as a junior mechanical engineer for Wasl in Dubai for around 1.5 years. He completed his BTech in mechanical engineering from NIT Calicut in 2017. Without further delay, I would request Nidhal to share his experience of getting placed in Rakuten Mobile. Thank you, Nidhal. Thank you for accepting my request.
Thank you, Sudhakar. Thank you so much for inviting me oral sessions.
Yeah, Nidhal. So could you please tell us a bit about the firm Rakuten Mobile and the profile of site reliability engineer which you have been selected for?
Yes, so Rakuten Mobile is a mobile communication services provider in Japan. It's one of the four mobile network carriers in Japan, and it's a very young company, incorporated in 2018. So, but even though they are a very young company, they have made huge impacts in the Japanese telecommunication market because they're mainly focusing on 5G networks and end-to-end virtualized cloud native networks. So we know that the companies that already exist, they find it difficult to shift to 5G with all the infrastructure transformation that you have to make in. But since Rakuten is a young company, they are able to capitalize on that and straight away move into 5G, and they are making good progress in the Japanese market. So that's about Rakuten and the profile that was offered at IIT Bombay this year. There were two profiles. One was that of site reliability engineer, and the other one was of backend developer. So I applied only for site reliability engineer, and the profile of site reliability engineer. So to say what site reliability engineering is, it's the site reliability engineering includes principles, practices, and processes which is mainly aimed at increasing the reliability of your digital services and products. So to put it simply, for IIT Bombay students to understand, we have our ASC portal. So as a site reliability engineer, it will be your job to make the portal up and running all the time, especially during times of registrations.
Yeah.
So that's basically a job of site reliability engineer. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so I get it. Students will be able to get it through this analogy, as we can say. So yeah, Nidhal, thank you for explaining the company and the profile. I actually, we know that we have also Rakuten Mobile and Rakuten Bank as well. So how are these two firms related, and what is the connection between these two? Are they sister companies of a bigger umbrella, or how is it that?
Yes, exactly. So Rakuten Bank and Rakuten Mobile they both have the same parent company, Rakuten. So like in Indian scenario, when we say about Reliance Group, we have Reliance Jio, then we have Reliance Trends. So like that, Rakuten has many subsidiaries, and of them, two are one is Rakuten Mobile and one is Rakuten Bank. So
Okay.
that's how.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So, for this profile, how many students were selected actually in case of Rakuten Mobile? Do you remember that?
So Rakuten Mobile, they had shortlisted around 20 students for interviews, and they selected 10 people. They select the final selections were 10.
Yes. And I think out of that 10 students, I should say that specialization was quite varied. Means I can see that 4 students were from CSRE, Center of Studies in Resources Engineering, and
Yes.
one from electrical, one from energy, one from CS. So were they looking for people from different backgrounds, or was there something else?
Yeah. Yeah, so I think it comes with the job description of site reliability engineer as such. It's a very broad concept. And if you look at the job description, they have written things like design, develop, and deploy automation, which which will basically involve automating the operations in your organization. And for that, mainly you will be having applications of machine learning.
Yes.
Then another concept of site reliability engineer will be to measure everything, measure all the performance, and for that we'll be having a huge databases of all these measurements. So there comes the data engineering and data science part.
Yes.
So it can include almost all of the people.
Yes.
They were basically looking at people who can code, who is fluent in coding. Then, apart from that, people who had done certain projects in, let's say, deep learning and data science. Then, the paradigms of DevOps, which will include the containerization management like Kubernetes or CI/CD pipelines, all those things. So, whoever was proficient in any of these areas and they found good, they hired.
Oh, yeah. So, yes. So that's why they selected people from across all of the departments. At least
Yes.
4 or 5 we saw it just now. So so now it means that the profile was open to all of the departments.
Yes, the profile, as it should be in IIT Bombay, it was open for all the profiles. I mean, it's a compliment for what we have at IIT Bombay, right?
Yes.
We are given so much freedom academically to pursue our our wishes, what we want to learn. Nobody is stopping you from doing that. And
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
as a compliment to that, yeah, the company was open for everyone.
Yes. So I think yes. So that's why it's really a good thing that people from all of the departments they could finally get selected. In fact, like you mentioned that
Yes,
20 students were shortlisted for the interview, and out of those 20, 10 students were finally offered this position.
yes. I mean, there were a wait list also around 30, 35. So maybe there were some students from the wait list too. I'm
Oh,
not
of
sure.
course,
Yeah.
of course, yes,
For Rakuten Mobile alone, but combined for both the profiles.
yes, yes, yeah. And the final offer, we can say that 10 students were selected in Rakuten Mobile. That we know.
Yeah, in Rakuten Mobile, and everyone was selected under the JAF of Site Reliability Engineer,
Yes.
the JAF one.
So Rakuten Mobiles, okay, site reliability engineer and 10 students. Yes, yes, definitely.
Yes.
Yeah. So I guess then we have talked about the profile. We have also talked about the company and how Rakuten Mobile and Rakuten Bank, these two are related. And so coming back to your personal experience, like a general question, like in your case, you did your BTech in mechanical engineering, and now you are doing
Yes.
your masters in energy sciences. So how do you see your transition, and did this transition help you in your job? Because energy sciences, if you could tell us a bit about that as well, like this transition. So yes.
Yes. So energy science, as it should be, it's an interdisciplinary program which will involve both mechanical and electrical engineering mainly.
Okay.
Let's say.
Yes.
I mean, energy, we transform it from one form to another. So, mechanical energy is transformed to electrical energy, and energy science deals with energy as a whole. So, let's safe to say that it involves multiple disciplines of engineering. And my choice as to why I chose electrical engineering for my master's, it was actually an inspired one because the job that I did before joining IIT Bombay, I was in the field of MEP, which is called mechanical electrical plumbing. It's related to building services engineering.
Yes.
So in that job, I had a manager under whom there will be mechanical engineers and electrical engineers. But looking at that manager, he had knowledge of both the domain. He knew electrical domain as well as he knew mechanical domain. And I realized that how much of an advantage it will be if you are an interdisciplinary person, that
Yes.
your knowledge spreads across different areas. So that was my main motivation to take up an interdisciplinary branch. And why I chose energy department at IIT Bombay. One was it was visible. I mean, it was obvious to me when I was doing the job that there was a shift towards the green energy sector. The governments were imposing regulations to adopt the clean energy technologies. So there is this inevitable shift to green energy. And apart from that, energy department of IIT Bombay is the best available in the country.
Yeah.
So this was my motivation to choose energy department. And yes, the transition has been not an easy one because you are expected to know both electrical and mechanical concepts.
Okay.
If you are doing masters, specifically the MTech, you are either coming from mechanical engineering or you are coming from electrical engineering. If you are a DD student, it's a different story. But for master students, this expectation makes it a bit difficult. It's not really difficult, but then it's on you to learn certain things by your own. Of course, the departments provides courses to bridge that gap, but again, it's on you to take up things on your hands and learn as much as you can.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, you rightly pointed out that energy sciences. So it's a a mixture, I can say, or at least which involves both electrical engineering and mechanical engineering. And it's you have a, like in your case, your work experience motivated you to pursue this as a career, or at least pursue masters in this field at least. So Nidhal, now we can talk about the process which happened after signing the JAF. Like after you signed the JAF, the steps like resume shortlisting test. What were the activities which happened after signing the JAF?
Once the JAF was signed, all of the students were eligible to write the screening test. It involved two coding exercises, a 1 hour test, and then along with the test, they also did resume shortlisting. So the interview shortlisting came as a combination of both resume filtering and the test results.
Okay, but the test was means all the students who signed the JAF they were allowed for the test,
Yes, they were allowed to write the test.
and later they apply. The company had done resume shortlisting later.
Yes, yeah,
Okay, okay. So there were two coding questions, only two coding questions.
only two coding questions. And these are the type of questions you mostly find in Geeks for Geeks or Hacker Rank if you practice questions on those platforms. Those were the type of questions. And the out of the two questions, it was, as far as I know, when I talked to my friends, I came to understand that it was different for different students. It was not same throughout the institute. So the questions that I got, one involved application of dynamic programming and the other was application of stacks.
Yes.
So, and it was solvable.
Okay, okay, yeah. So dynamic programming and stacks. So I think
Yeah,
more or less data structures, algorithms, these things you need to know
yeah,
for
yes.
attempting this test. And how means so there was two questions and the time was the allotted time was 1 hour.
Yeah, allotted time was 1 hour, and you could see the results when you complete the test. The
Yeah.
platform was Codility in this year, so you
So
could see the results.
you can submit the code and then they will give you the test cases result, how the test cases performed.
No, I'm saying score. You can see the score once you submit the test completely. They'll show you the score, how much you have scored out of 100.
Okay, okay, yeah. So
Yeah.
so you were getting your score at that moment only.
Yes, and I
Yeah.
was able to score full marks. So I'm guessing that all of the students who got shortlisted might have scored full marks in the test.
Okay, okay. So regarding this showing of results, means generally on hacker rank platforms, what do they do is that when you compile and submit the code, they will show you like how many test cases were successful out of these many test cases. In on
Yes.
hacker rank, this happens like that. But in case of Codility, you could see the score. So score is dependent on the number of test cases, or I mean, do you know about
Yeah,
it?
it can be dependent on number of test cases only because just like hacker rank, there were test cases which were visible and which were not visible. And in addition to that, they'll show you the score also, how much they are allotting you out of 100.
Okay, and you were able to score full marks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So and after the test was conducted, then there was resume shortlisting, and the final shortlist for the interview was based on these two things: test and the resume
Yes.
shortlisting.
Yeah. That's a combination of both.
Yes. So of course, so now we have discussed about the test. Okay, any CPI cutoff?
No, there was no CPI cutoff as far as I remember. No.
Okay, yes. So, Nidhal, while going through your resume, I have also seen that you have, like, we also know that you have done several certifications in machine learning and SQL, SQL, all these things. So, you have also done some courses like that machine learning course E769 and some other courses you have done. So, Miss, how did you feel about machine learning? Like, when did you think that you have, some kind of passion towards machine learning and you took those courses?
Yeah. So basically, it started as from the job perspective only. I wanted to try out something which would fetch me a job when I get out of the institute. And while talking to our seniors, I understood that. So in our department, there are, as I said, two kind of students, one who are coming from electrical background and the other who are coming from mechanical background.
Yes.
And as the scenario is in the whole institute, electrical background students gets better opportunities than mechanical background students.
Yes.
It's the same with that departments also.
Yes.
So companies who open for electrical may open for energy. In that cases, the electrical students have a good chance of getting a core job,
Yes.
and the companies opening for mechanical as same may open for energy. But we know that there are not much core profiles in mechanical available at the moment in the market. So there was a need to find an alternative apart from my core subjects.
Yes.
And as part of that, I tried out machine learning. I took some courses and then I found out that it's interesting. It's
Yeah.
basically mathematics and coding, which I used to
Yes.
enjoy.
Yeah.
So I took it forward and I was able to do some good projects in that, and hopefully everything turned out well.
Yes, yes. I have seen that you have done several projects. I think like that OCR document verification all you have done. Yeah, so it's really good. And since at IIT Bombay we get an opportunity to explore courses from other
Yeah,
departments
yeah,
as well.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I was saying, yeah, that's the best thing about IIT Bombay. You are given the freedom to study whatever you want. I mean,
yeah.
I didn't experience that during my undergraduate days, so it was really nice. And also, one thing that worked in my favor was one of the projects that I did, the OCR extraction with of KYC documents. Rakuten Mobile had quite recently launched a new feature, which is very much in line with that project that I did. They also launched a eKYC
Oh,
feature in their mobile applications.
yeah.
So our conversation started with that, and it went off well.
Oh, that's great because yeah. So these things company find very exciting, and
Yes.
yeah. And in your case, since your project and their product, these two what
Yeah.
what aligned. Yeah. So were you already aware of this thing that Rakuten Mobile had a product on eKYC?
No, when we did the project, our idea was to find a project that is relevant in the market. I was not aware about Rakuten Mobile's feature, but
Yeah.
when I was preparing for the interview, I found out that they too had such similar feature, and yeah, I could use it to my advantage.
Yes, obviously, obviously. Yeah, definitely. Yes. So, okay, we will definitely talk about your interview experience in detail in the up as we progress in this session. So, as of now, we can talk a bit about your resume as the Rakuten Mobile had also done resume shortlisting. So, we can talk about resume shortlisting because you know that resume is frozen in the very early stages, like July or August, it is frozen. So we have to very carefully write or draft our resume. So how did you shape your resume, given that you are coming from mechanical background, you had a work experience, and you had ML projects as well. So how did you club up all these things to make a very good resume? Of course you have a good resume, but how did you plan all these things?
Yes, so when it comes to resume, at IIT Bombay, we don't get the freedom to to prepare custom resume for each company. So the best option that we have is to make a resume which we can apply to most of the situations. So the strategy that I followed was, given the 5 slots of resumes that we can make, I made 4 2-page resumes, and in that 4, 2 were with short header and 2 were with long header. So in the short header resume, I was able to add scholastic achievements apart from whatever I added in my long header resume. And also the resumes that I made, I included all my projects, but I ordered them. Like if I'm applying for ML related companies, or basically I can say a non-core company to me as an energy student, I would apply with the resume in which I had put my machine learning and data science projects on the top and my core projects at the bottom, and vice versa. When it
Yeah.
comes to energy companies, I would apply with my other resume. So most of the time I ended up using only 2 of my resumes.
Yes. Okay. And so you signed the job of Rakuten Mobile using two-page resume.
Yeah, 2-page non-core, non-core as I would call it. And
Yeah.
also, while making the resume, we had that workshop from Cantilever Labs, right?
Yeah.
The one which Institute provided. So they had provided a toolkit, a resume building toolkit, which contained a lot of keywords. And I guess that in some of the companies, I am not sure, maybe Japanese companies do read our resumes and statement of purposes, but there are companies who just put it into a software and it will give them the score for each companies. And those scores are mainly based on the keywords
Oh,
which we put in our resumes. Yeah. So I made sure that I had used as much as keywords as I could use given in that resume building toolkit which Cantilever had shared with us.
okay, okay. Yeah, so I guess you are talking, okay, Cantilever Labs. Yeah, that mock, okay, yeah. They also conducted mock interviews and mock PIs. Sorry, mock PI and mock ZDs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And those were very helpful. I mean, even the mock interview sessions were helpful because one of the idea that they introduced during that session, the breadcrumbs approach, as they would call it.
yes.
Every time you answer something, you plan something in that answer so that the interviewer will ask the next question based on that. So these techniques I found it very useful in all of my interviews. In total I attended around for 5 companies I attended the interview processes. So I found it very useful in all of those 5 interviews that I
Mm.
had attended.
Yeah, definitely. Cantilevers, they had done a very good job and they gave us a very, good idea about how to shape or draft
Yeah,
a resume and also our answers while speaking or while presenting in the interview. So
yeah,
definitely those things are,
exactly. Yeah, it's not just about what we have done, right? We must be able to present it.
yes. Yeah. We can
So
also call it, you need to know how to sell yourself.
yeah, exactly. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And like you mentioned that several companies, they use some kind of software to find certain scores depending on the keywords are available or are in your resume or not. I have also come to know about resume parser. They call it resume parser. And I think they simply present some of the keywords, and then depending upon whether these keywords are in your resume or not, so they can give you that score. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
true. So I think that's why you need to read the JAF very carefully, the profile of the company very carefully, and also you should know how to present your projects, your
Yeah,
credentials. Yeah,
yeah. It's a very important point when it comes to interview do's and don'ts that you read about the company first,
yeah,
then you read about the JAF as well. Because it happened to me in one of the interviews that I didn't know what the company was doing, and my whole interview was revolving around what the company was doing. Unfortunately, the person who was taking the interview started with the question like, "How do you find applications of data science in the field that we are working?" And I was not aware of the field that they were working. So yeah, it's very important that you read about the company as
yes.
well as the
Yeah, I
JAF
think
also.
we can call it homework when you are applying for
Yes.
a particular form. Then and if you have received an option to or opportunity to attend the interview, then it becomes your responsibility to dig about the projects which that firm is working in or the domains
Yeah.
in which that
Yes.
firm is working. Definitely, we should. Yeah, I think it's a very good practice. Only then you can link your credentials to their activities and
Yeah.
how do you fit in into their projects. Like even in your
Exactly.
case, your KYC project and they were their eKYC product. So those kind of things you should always be able to
Mhm.
find a match or some kind of relation. So yes, Nidal. So was there any SOP in case of Rakuten Mobile? Any SOP?
No, for Rakuten Mobile and Bank, there were no SOPs.
Okay, only
They
the
are
test
still
and
based on resume and test.
okay, test and the resume. Yeah. And we have also talked about the number of students shortlisted for the interview and finally the offers was okay.
Yes.
So I think then Nidal, we have talked about brief the things which happened before the interview, like the company, the profile, the test, the coding test, and resume shortlisting, how to build the resume. I guess we have talked about these things. So anything which you feel important before the interview, which or at least while applying, because next year again people will be signing this particular JAF. So what should we keep in mind while applying for while signing the JAF actually, and then we will move on to talking about your interview experience. So yeah.
To specifically address the students of my department, I would say, firstly, you must be aware of the opportunities that are presented to you in a holistic view. That what are the opportunities you will get in both core and non-core sectors, and prepare accordingly to the profiles that you find interesting. Do some good projects, find projects which are relevant in the industry now, and try to do something related to that. And then when it comes to preparing your resumes, do refer to the tips and details that experts provide you. Use those things to your advantage, and basically hope for the best. Do your part well and hope for the best. I
Yes.
can't really say that what you should do specifically for Rakuten Mobile, because it may so happen that next year they will come with a different profile than what they have offered this year.
Yes.
So your main strategy should be to, rather than focusing on a company, focus on profiles which are in abundant in the market. Yeah,
Yes.
and prepare accordingly. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely, it's good because sometimes scenario might get changed in the coming year. So yeah, you should prepare for the profile. That's you have made a very strong point. And if you have a very good hold of that profile, then not this company, some other company will hire you definitely.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Yeah, and like you put that, hope for the best, do your part, and then hope for the best.
Yeah.
It's true. It's very true.